G'day, welcome to another big edition of the RDFNL Footy Show. Thanks to On Time Delivery Solutions. Looking ahead to round 14 of the RDFNL, I'm joined by Tara Murray, and certainly got another big round of football coming up.
It is, and it'll be good to get back out there and see some, since I haven't seen any for 4 weeks. So
Have you missed it?
I have missed football. All sorts of football, but yeah, that's it. So yeah, good to get back out there.
Certainly some important games in the context of the season happening this week, and the Sunbury Kangaroos, they'll be playing host to Melton Centrals. And the Kangaroos, they're still one of those teams now that have probably, I think they're sort of sitting in 6th position. So they're on the fringe of the top 6 at the moment, and wins are going to be crucial for them.
Exactly, and when they're on the same amount of points as Wallen, who is in 7th, every win's crucial. And you look, they're playing a side that is sitting 8th on the ladder outside the top 6. Sunbury Kangaroos need to win this week.
Yeah, and they've got the better draw. Their last 4 weeks as a whole, they're all winnable games for them. So I know we've got a few more weeks to go, and theoretically, given on form, they should win those ones. Whereas Melton Centrals, they challenged the Redbacks last week, but they've got a big ask at Borden Reserve.
It is, and I also think for the Kangaroos, they'll be looking for a big win. They've probably got the better percentage out of those 4 teams from 4th to 7th. So a big win can keep that percentage, and come finals and where your spot is, percentage could play a big part as well. For Centrals, obviously they want to be competitive. They were competitive for 3 quarters last week against Romsey, so they need to maintain that. And that's sort of the thing for them this year, was to be competitive against those top sides. Definitely
right there. So Sunbury Kangaroos will get the job done for you?
Yes.
Yeah. Wood and Heskett playing host to Wallen in another crucial game, because talk about percentage and needing to win, and Wood and Heskett, they haven't been a bad side. I did watch them against Diggers Rest, and I thought they played a really good first quarter, and I thought that I'm still not sold on their ladder position at the moment. I think with the talent in that team, they've got the capability to perform better. And I just probably haven't seen them sort of live up to that expectation.
Consistency has been the problem for the Hawks. They play well for 3 quarters.
Yep.
And then the 1 quarter they play poorly. That's where they're beaten. I know they've had that against a couple of your top sides like a Macedon and a Diggers Rest, that they played poorly that 1 quarter, and it cost them big time. So this is a challenge for them. They're playing Wallen, who is coming off a loss, and trying to play finals. So I think the Hawks would be trying to get a couple of scalps in the run home, and this is one that they could quite possibly get.
Do you think they're a chance?
I've tipped Wallen, but the Hawks is one team I don't know about. You don't know what's going to come from them.
Yeah. They've got a stellar midfield. When Cam Arnold's flying, he's really good. Tom Gawthrop. That was the thing I really liked about them when they took on Diggers, is that they've got 22 players in a team, and they all had 1 point. Yep. So they played 22 points out of the allocation of whatever their allocation is. So maybe next season they still have a similar sort of list. Maybe get a couple of high point players in there, which they've got the luxury to have. They can cause some damage. And as you say, Wallen heading into this game as a whole, though, they're going to come into this one coming like a bull at a gate and wanting to win.
Exactly. And after just falling short against Riddle, when they had their opportunities late in that last quarter, they'd definitely be wanting to win.
Broadford and Macedon, top versus bottom.
How far Macedon?
Yeah.
That's put it simply. How far Macedon?
Yeah. A fast deck will probably suit the cap midfielders pretty well. And percentage, I don't think percentage will come into play too much at all, although they're on they're
equal percentage with Rupert's Wood, so that could be you've got 3 teams that are pretty equal up the top there, so percentage could be a key as well.
Yeah, exactly. It'll either be first, second or third there for the Cats. Rockbank taking on Diggers Rest. So this is a percentage. This is where percentage really could come into, although Rockbank, they've got the ability to shut teams down, at least for minor parts in the game.
They need to be competitive. Obviously, they had a couple of disappointing results. Obviously, the Lancefield one was a disappointing result there a few weeks ago. So for the Rams, it's about being competitive against those top sides and not letting them get away. Even if they're in the game at halftime, that's still massive for them going forward. And that's showing signs that these younger players can play against new reigning premiers.
I think Diggers Rest, they've got the capability at the moment, the run of momentum where they'll get better as we sort of approach finals. That seems to be what they do best.
I think so, and I think that's been the aim this year. They've had a lot of new players into the side, brought a lot of younger players up. So for Diggers Rest, it's just about getting right come finals, and that's what their focus has been all season. So they've tried a few different things all year, and it's about getting right at the right time of the season.
Lancefield playing host to Romsey, and Lancefield coming off a big win over Rockbank a few weeks ago, just sort of getting their mojo back a little bit. Romsey coming off an important win and shooting up to 4th position. These two teams sort of faced off nearly 12 months ago, and Lancefield probably needed to win that game to make finals. I know Romsey have sort of given themselves a bit of a breathing gap, but percentage is not favourable of the way results could go. A loss for them could almost see them spiral out of the top 6.
If not, they'd be right on the edge of it, and that's it. With none of those 4 teams from 4th to 7th playing each other, every single match of those are important in the context of the season. I think Romsey will get over the line. I think they've shown this season that they have got too much strength and probably too much consistency across the board, that they've got quite a few players who can stand up. They're not relying on 1 or 2 players every week.
If Lancefield get up, then it really puts the romance, the fantasy of the final game of the home and away season, the possibility of Romsey and Wallen, the winner, going in the top 6. I think footy fans, if you're not Romsey or Wallen, or being a neutral fan, they want to see that game. And Lancefield, should they get up, they're going to be one step closer to making that a reality.
And I think so. And look, we had last year, it went down to the final round of the season. Wallen had a massive win over Rockbank to make finals, but you had Sunbury Kangaroos knock off Diggers Rest as well. And Lancefield had a disappointing loss in the final round. So that was an interesting end to last year. So we can match that. Yeah. Be pretty exciting going into our final weekend.
I remember the conversation I had with Al Waters, the president of Sunbury Kangaroos, and we're broadcasting at Woodend, and I said to him, I rang him up and said, "Congratulations, you're in the finals." And he goes, "No, we're not. The game between Wallen and Rockbank is still going." And the longer our phone call went, apparently over at Green Hill Reserve, Wallen were kicking more goals. I think they kicked a 15-goal last quarter to give them the percentage to get in. So, we're going to see that close finish. And I think Lancefield, they won't get up, but geez, they'll put a fright into Romsey, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Good set of rivalry too.
Yep.
Now the last game, the game that everyone is talking about, and if not for Macedon ruining it last week, if Rupert's would have been on a 7-game winning streak, Riddle on an 8-game winning streak, it would have been set up, it would have been great. Instead now Rupert's would have left to fight back, and I love the romance of it all. Again, the 2 highest winning streaks in the competition, now Riddle can saw their way through. They're heading this game with a lot of good confidence. Yeah,
besides last week's result, they were the 2 form teams of the competition. Obviously, Riddle has won 8 games in a row. Their last loss actually came against Rupert's Wood. So it was a match where I know Rupert's Wood got the points. I think they won by about 40 points, but they came out disappointed without that. They were expecting to sort of run away with it in the final quarter. They didn't, and they had a lot to come from that match. And both sides have improved massively since then. You look at it, they've only had 1 loss between them, sort of thing, going into it. So both those sides have been playing really, really good football, and it'll be quite an interesting match.
And I think wet conditions as well as forecast as well, so the ground will be a little bit wet, and that would probably sort of favour the Bombers maybe a little bit more.
Not sure. Well, you do look at, they are playing at Rupert's Wood, and Rupert's Wood in those conditions is low scoring. So, yeah. And Rupert's Wood has got a lot of wins at their home ground in wet conditions when it's low scoring. So Rupert's Wood doesn't have a key forward either, so probably wet conditions favours them, their game style as well. They're not relying on someone to take big marks and that sort of thing as well. So I think it'll be quite an interesting match.
Your tip?
I did tip Rupert's Wood.
Yeah. I'm going to back the Bombers just for just to sort of shake things up a little bit. I think I'd love to see a good winning streak continue, which will, as you say, it'll be a low-scoring game. It'll be a close one, and I think it'll be urging everyone, if you're not doing anything, get down to the tank and watch that one. It's going to be an absolute belter. Tara, thanks so much for joining us in this week's edition of the RDFNL Footy Show. Look forward to catching up with you next week.
Thanks for having me.